slash itinerant hobbyist. I wanted to try something here. I've done some live plays. I'm not really thrilled with the way it's looking on the camera. I'm just going to start out like that. That's probably not a good way to start. You need to start positive. But I'm not really liking the way it's looking. Bad thing about well-painted miniatures, thank you British Legion, on a green background. Well, it's doing their job. You can't see them very well. It's also the camera a little bit, my lighting, etc. But I'm going to try this. I'm going to make an attempt to try it. Hey, OG, I was going to invite you on here. You got a few minutes you could hang out? I just wanted to play a couple turns, just to kind of show some basic concepts, and then I'm going to break down videos into how to fire, how to deploy, and all that stuff. So I'm going to see if I can get someone to join on. It might be a little bit more fun to have a little banter back and forth. Bear with me for one moment, and I'm going to try something else out here real quick. So let me turn that down. When you're going live like this, it's a little bit of time you got to spend getting set up and going here. So please hold for just a minute, please. I copy the link, go to there, and then go to here. So the cool thing is that's why I did do StreamYard, because I can invite people on, like Rocky and some others are using to invite other people in, which is a bummer. You can't do that on Google Hangouts anymore. So I'll just tell you, hey, OG, I'm inviting you via Facebook, if you're interested. If not, I'll just cry a little bit, just a little bit. Okay, so I just want to show a couple turns. I'm not going to show a specific scenario. So we're not going to get into deployment. There's a bunch of rules I'm not going to talk about. I'm not going to go into like, there's a new rule called ambush, which is pretty cool. I don't even really know much about that. So there's a few things. Did I say bolt action? If I said bolt action, I apologize. This is Blitzkrieg Commander. So Devin, go check your message up. It looks like we might have him here. Hold on, everybody. Everybody? Devin,
hey,
the original drop.
How are you, Todd?
I'm good, Devin. Thanks for jumping on, man.
Oh, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, so everybody, just real quick, Devin has a channel called The Original Grognard, primarily board war games and some sports occasionally. He's designing some scenarios now. I just had a recent video on the digital version of Lock and Load, which is my go-to tactical board game. Devin's been kind of getting into that a little bit lately, and doing some designing for them for some scenario packs. So that's cool. East Front coming along. He's got his play test pack, building it and about ready to test it out, right?
It's ready.
Cool.
It really is ready for distribution. I just need one or two more things cleared / approved / done, and then I'll start sending it out.
Cool. Yeah, so that'll be fun seeing that. Are you going to be able to test that on Vassal, or is it going to have to be hard copy test?
Oh, it's going to have to be hard copied. I don't think the Vassal mod will be made for it until it gets closer to release. I mean, honestly, the maps right now are just stuff I photoshopped up. You know, I've worked up in Photoshop, and the counters are again Photoshop scans from the Vassal mods, and I had to craft 3 or 4 vehicles because the vehicles didn't have stats for them in Lock and Load. Fortunately, Lock and Load is relatively easy to backwards engineer everything, so that wasn't that hard. But yeah, it was a lot of Photoshop work. So lots of arts and crafts for the playtest crews to have to go through. So
you're not going to build them all out for them, Devin? Come on, man.
It cost me $11.01 just to print up my own copy of stuff, and if I had the money, yeah, I'd print up 20 or 30 just to have kits ready to send off, but I'm not a rich man, so.
Oh, well. Okay, so Devin, what we're playing here today is Blitzkrieg Commander.
You can minimize me. I don't have to be taking up half the screen. I'm sure not everybody. I'm sure people are more interested in seeing your miniatures than they're seeing my bald head.
Well, that will definitely happen, but it's kind of cool. And yes, I'm not showing myself, just you. So anyway, this is Blitzkrieg Commander, 4th edition. It's a miniatures rule set. They kind of it's by Pendraken, which makes 10mm miniatures. So, which is this is not what you're seeing here. I'm actually going to play them with 15s. And that's what these little guys are here. 15 Battlefront Flames. Well, actually, these are, oh my gosh, not Field of Fire. They start with an F. Oh my gosh. Anyway, these are not Battlefront. These are different models, and I can't remember what they are. But painted by British Legion, another YouTuber. So, very awesome. But as I was saying, Devin, a little challenge with this video is that I've got this nice green mat and well camouflaged guys, so it's hard to see them. So,
well, the camouflage is doing its job the way it's supposed to.
Exactly. So, anyway, so what we're doing here is we're just going to play a couple turns because I'm starting to build videos around called Blitzkrieg Commander Academy, and just kind of teaching some of the basics. I already released one that talked about basic concepts, so I'm not going to get into that too much here. This is not a specific kind of scenario. I just want to put some guys on the board, and I'm itching to roll dice. So it's a little bit of a selfish thing, but also maybe show some people kind of how a couple turns work. I probably should have put all the guys a little closer together to get right into the action, but that's all right. So I'm going to try to do this here. It's going to get a little shaky. Everybody hold on. Oh, actually, let me do like what Devin was talking about. Bye, Devin. Not bye. It's not goodbye.
I'm still here.
Let's see. Can I just show me? Yes, there we go. No more Devin, but he's still there. All right. So, Devin, please ask questions. If I need to explain something better, this will be good for the crew. So,
well, you were mentioning new ambush rules, and I'm interested to hear more about that and see how it compares to how Flames of War used to hold their ambush system.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I really don't know much about them, so I'm actually going to have to read about them. I just was reading about them now, thinking, oh, maybe I'll do it, but that's going to complicate it too much. I think it's about deployment, so it's a special way to deploy. Let me get into that in just a second. What I'm doing is I have remember again, these are platoons. So Flames of War, each stand of 4 guys or 3 to 5 guys, depending on the army. Like this is actually a Flames of War stand. That's a team. So you'd have 2 stands to make a squad. And so this is zoomed out a bit, and these are platoons. So if you're a board gamer, think Panzer Leader, Panzer Blitz, think World at War or Nations at War, soon to be released World at War. Those are platoons, each chit or counter. Command Decision is another miniature game that is platoon level or platoon. Normally you have about a battalion fighting against each other. So in this case, I have 6 platoons or 2 companies of Brit Paras here. These guys are off the board. These guys are in the woods. I threw in a Vickers machine gun, a Sherman 76 mil, and a medium mortar. Again, they're fighting against 4 German companies that are on board, a Stug out in the woods there, a Vickers, not a Vickers, but an MG42 in the wheat field. Way back there on the hill is an infantry gun. And then I have 2 other units that can come on board, kind of seeing how it was going. I'll bring them on if I need. I'm not really care if this is a wipeout either way. Again, just to illustrate some things. So that's what I want to do. So I'm going to show some couple turns. The goal would be that the British want to get and clear the road for, say, 30 Corps to come up the road or something, or going into Arnhem, or you could say D-Day and trying to clear the road for the guys coming off the beach. But not worried about that right now. So what else do we want to do? So real quick, ambush is a way of deployment, and they really went into more details on how to deploy nowadays, which is kind of cool. That's one cool thing about Blitzkrieg Commander. You can kind of add your own rules pretty easy without screwing up the game. And I'm excited to try out ambush because they did not have this in the previous versions. Sorry, I'm just kind of flipping to it. See if I could scan it real quick. Basically, you designate a couple of units, some units. I don't know if there's a limit to how many your army has to have a certain kind of doctrine. So they have doctrines called flexible, normal, rigid. So early war Russians are rigid, meaning they can't act on initiative as far away, and they have to keep, what's the other thing? Basically, it's the initiative, but the flexible allows them to do things like this ambush. And basically, you can trigger it like opportunity fire. Looks like you designate ambush locations. You do. Anyway, yes. You make note of the location of the ambush before the game, also noting down which units from your reserve pool can be allocated to a specific ambush. So that's interesting. It looks like a little bit of recording too, and it might be a little tougher to do that when you're soloing. But anyway, what's the Flames of War ambush? Do you remember?
Well, Flames of War runs with the ambush system. Normally, if you're ambushing, it's defined by scenario, and you might have one platoon, maybe two platoons in ambush. And it's very ahistoric, like most of Flames of War is. But it's basically you can drop them out wherever in concealing terrain that you want to, whenever you want to, with some restrictions. Has to be 8 inches away from recon units or 4 inches away from normal units. Very, like I said, very, very ahistoric, because it's, the ambush just happens to be right where I need them. So, but it also saves the headache of having to pre-plot your ambushes beforehand on, on a piece of paper. I actually kind of prefer the Flames of War method, just because it reduces bookkeeping, even though I know it is very gamey, I guess you could say, because you could have a platoon move through a woods and then 2 turns later have an ambush pop up in those same woods. It's not going to happen that often, but it is possible that it could happen. Not really historic, but then again, Flames of War isn't really historic. I always called Flames of War World War II, the movie, the game.
Yep, agreed. Okay, thank you for that. That talk also helped me get some more stuff I needed to get playing. So, okay, so basically the British are trying to advance towards that road junction, or that road over there. So let's start moving guys around. The first thing that you do is the initiative phase. Pardon me, you gotta get loud for a second. The initiative phase means that troops can act if there are visible enemies within a certain range. So I told you these guys are flexible. So if there's some enemies within 25 centimeters, let's use the centimeters. Within 25 centimeters, which is that far. So it looks like it's hitting those guys, but it's just shy of those woods. Then they could act within that turn if they are on board. We'll see some of that. That doesn't usually happen in the first turn, just like this doesn't. So there is no initiative. You can fire, you can move, you can close assault, all in initiative. So you can pretty much do anything you can do. But anyway, there's none of that in the first turn, typically. All right, so I want to move. So I got a couple of guys, Germans, sitting here in the woods. The thing is, they're concealed. So I can't really see them until I get within 10 centimeters of them. I'm going to go with that right now. There's going to be some things that might not get specifically right in some of the rules, but I'm not too worried about that at the moment. I know that sounds weird when I'm doing an academy video. I should know it, but like I said, I'm just itching to play. So we're going to go with 10 centimeters because they're low profile. So these guys can see them when they get within 10. And here we go. So let's move the guys in the woods. So here's how you work it. We got a command unit here. Command units are abstracted. So this is right now, you can't fire on these guys. It's just kind of an abstraction of command that can drive some people crazy. But you can also, an optional rule within Blitzkrieg Commander is you can make it a unit and then use it like you do in Command Decision. I have never played that way. There's a few bits of the rules that kind of make me a little squirrely about that, but let's do it. So the commander has a command value of 9. So I have to roll 2 dice, 2d6, to see if I can roll a 9. You say what you want to do. Basically, I need to move these guys up. My goal is at some point to move them up to here to the woods so that they can then, cover fire and, be there ready to fire on those guys. They do have to be careful because that MG42 down there in the field, that little gray spot over there, can see them, but they're in concealment until they do something inside the wood. So my commander has to roll 2d6. I got a 6. Let me make a little mark here. So the British pairs have a pretty high one. Their CO, top commander, has a command value of 10. And the HQs here that lead the companies have a 9. Pretty good flexibility. The Germans are a 9 and 8. So I just made them hair, if I'm saying that correctly. So they get to do what they want to do. Let's move up 10 centimeters. Again, so they're going to move up 10. So that's just up there. You can command these guys separately. Like I could have given a command to that guy and then rolled again to command that guy. But it's just, I don't usually play that way. Because here's the deal. If he fails a command, he can't command anymore that turn. So you almost don't want to take that chance. Now, yes, you do take that chance that you'll fail the roll and no one gets to do anything. But hey, that's part of the fun. But here's a cool thing. He succeeded, so he gets to command them again if he wants to. The reason you wouldn't is you don't want to roll 2 6s, get a 12, and there's a foo bar. You wouldn't, unless also he may want to command someone else. And so you wouldn't want him to fail, and maybe you want him to command these guys here, but they've got a commander, so they don't need that. The British paras.
Is the movement range based on the command roll or set by army list?
The distance of movement for infantry for every army all throughout the year, whole war is 10 centimeters.
Okay. Even through the woods, you still move the full movement through woods.
Correct. Where you don't do that is, so what happens in woods is once you hit, I want to make sure I get the terminology correct here. They have a dense terrain, and I don't even think this affects infantry. Infantry is pretty flexible. Let me look here real quick. Yeah, they don't have. Yeah, so woods in this, I'm going to play it this way for infantry, and I always have to remember this actually because I usually make it happen. If there's dense terrain, so this tank, if it were to move in the woods, it can move, let's say, I don't know, I think its movement's 20. If he was moving it, he goes, I want to move the tank into the woods, you could go up and get right into the woods and you have to stop. It allows you to get into cover, but then you have to stop. So even if he gets to move 20 and he starts here, he can only move whatever that is. 5.
Right.
Okay, so that's how woods slows you down. But the cool thing, Devin, like I said, is if you wanted to say, boy, they had a hard time moving to the woods, it was thick underbrush, you could just make that rule for the infantry. So you say, these woods are really thick, so when you move up, but not while you're moving in it. And it's the same as exiting. You have to be on the edge to exit to move. So like if these guys wanted to move out, they would actually stop here. They couldn't leave, but in case of infantry, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yep, sure does.
Okay, so they want to command them again. Notice the CO or the HQ stays back. It doesn't move. Well, now I get to command them again, but there's a penalty. It's a -1 to the roll, so now it's no longer 9, it's 8. You can think of all the reasons why that would be. As you command, they're getting tired, there's cohesion, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I rolled a 5. So that's good. So what I do for the new players, I just keep a D10 handy, and I keep track of that. So now I know it's a 7, so now I know if I want to command again, it's going to be a roll of a 7 or less. A handy tip from Todd Itinerant. All right, so he moves up to the edge of the woods. So far, no one can see him still. It's not until you move across the border of the obstacle or fire out or move out, if that makes sense. Does that make sense, Evan?
It does.
Okay. So he moves up, and since it's a little crooked, I need to measure, but they all virtually move up. So that's cool. Let's command him again. But what are they going to do here? They can't see anybody because technically this guy is still concealed in this crop. But as a general, or I don't know, what would I be, a colonel, I guess, battalion? Or is that a major? Who runs a battalion?
It'd probably be my major, lieutenant colonel.
It's interesting. I should know that kind of thing. I've been reading it looks like, yeah, anyway. Actually, you know what? We're talking about that. Let me show you something. So have you heard of micromark our lists, army lists?
I haven't, no, but then again, I've kind of been out of the miniature scene for a while.
Yeah.
So
Micromark is a company that's been putting out army lists, and they just show command structure. You know, it breaks it down to, I think, down to the squad level, or maybe just to platoon. Uzi Patrol is on. Hey, what's up, Uzi?
Uzi.
But what's cool is Pendraken is working with Micromark to, oh, that's not going to focus. Oh, boy. Yeah, boy. Looks about what my eyes look like when I'm not wearing glasses. I'm not too concerned about focusing on this because I don't want to give away this something you buy. So this is put out by Micromark and Pendraken, and they're starting to build out lists in the structure of the Army Builder lists. So in this case, British 1st Airborne Division at Arnhem, September 44. Tells you about their flexibility. They're flexible. Air superiority is full. That means they have no problem getting air. But you'll see it says CV10 here. Oh boy, maybe. These webcams are awesome. Okay. Anyway, CV10 gives you your points, tells you how much it moves, and does all that. But it's cool. In this case, it says 1st Parachute Brigade. The person who would be the CO would be Brigadier Gerald Lethbury. So in this case, I'm just using him. So my CO up there is actually Brigadier. Is that Brigadier probably? Brigadier Gerald Lethbury. And then they tell you who the CHQs are, or the HQs. Let's see if it does not go down to that level. So that's kind of cool. So in this case, the 2nd Battalion Parachute Regiment as above is led by Lieutenant Colonel John Frost. So Lieutenant Colonel. And we've heard of John Frost because he had some exploits in some of the Arnhem battles. Played by Anthony, oh gosh, this guy that played the Hannibal Lecter. The actor who played Hannibal Lecter. Oh my gosh, what is his name?
Anthony Hopkins.
Thank you. I think he played Frost in A Bridge Too Far. Okay, that's your movie history part of the lesson. So what do I want to do here? So Devin, what would you do here? This is where I always struggle. I'm like, what do you do when you got this wide open space? I've got 2 guys here and a machine gun. If I move out, they'll shoot me because there is something called opportunity fire.
Well, if I were playing leader or some didn't know the bad guy was out there, I would decon, which is the art of sending out your friends to get shot so you know where the bad guys are at.
All right, well, let's do that. Someone's got to come out because I got to bring these other guys that are over here that you can't see right there. So I got to get moving. I got to get this game done in 2 turns. So let's just move out. So first of all, let's see how far away these guys are, and I'll tell you why that is in just a moment. Okay, he's fine. So I have to roll a 7 or less. So what you have to say what you're going to do. I'm going to move these guys, start heading them to the woods, and I can't remember if there's pre-measuring in the game, but I like pre-measuring, so I'm going to do it this time. That machine gun is not within range, obviously, of this unit. I think it's a 30-centimeter range for infantry. So remember, this is a platoon. So there's Bren guns, there's light mortars in there. So the range is a little bit obscured. So the range is 30 centimeters. And when they're fighting tanks, it's 10 because they have integrated integral pits in there. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to send 2. I don't want to send them all out. Well, I am going to send them all out. You know, what's the point, right? So 7. And there's no penalties right now for the command roll. And I rolled a 7. So I'm good. So I'm going to put my little D10 to a 6. So if I want to command them again, I can. Here we go, Devin. Let's just start moving out and see what happens. So I start moving out here, and the German player would say, hold on. Let's see if I want to fire. So I look at my German army list, which I just built myself in an Excel or a Google Doc. And my MG42 has a range of 60 centimeters. I measured it, and I should remember what it is. Is there range? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. There's range. So I think I will fire that. Now, you can only fire 1 time in turn. So you want to use it wisely. Kind of like kind of like lock and load, right? Once you op fire, you're done.
Yep.
So let's look at the, I'll look at the stat here and I'll tell you what it says. MG42, I can roll, it's got a number of 3/60. That means my range is 60. And it means I roll 3 attacks or 3d6. House of Hingis is on with us as well. And is he still on? He did not. He did play Frost. Okay. All right. Well, thanks to all for watching. We've got Devin, the original Grognard, on with us too. All right. So I didn't even think about what to hit. So I'm going to roll 3 attacks. It was not a good roll for the Germans. So what you do is you look at if there's any modifiers. There aren't any. There are no penalties when moving and all that stuff, and as in some games. Basically, in the open, you hit on a 4+. I rolled 2 1s and a 4. So I did get a hit. Now, normally you want to be in a situation where you can save that roll, but infantry has no saves unless they're in cover, or like in a building or a bunker or something else, or a trench. The woods actually don't get a save. It just makes it harder to hit him. So he doesn't get a save. So he's going to take a hit, and it takes 6 hits to take out a platoon of British Paras. So there's a little bit of tracking you got to do here. And I got these cool historic counters. Oh boy. Anyway, it's a little piece that I flocked, and then it's got a little round number counter here. I think I'm going to count down here. So they have 5 hits left. I'm going to set it right next to them. So after someone takes a hit, so they have 5 more left, you roll to see if they're going to suppress. Now, this is an aspect of the game where I'm going to have a little editorial comment. Normally you suppress, well, in this case, it's going to be the same. Normally you suppress, I'm going to roll, so I got 1 hit on that, right? Because I rolled a 4 and 2 1s. I'm going to roll that 1 dice, I'm sorry. I'm going to roll that 1 dice. And this is fortunate for the British. I rolled a 2. They are not going to suppress. Now, it took a 4 to hit them. So if I rolled a 4 on that roll, they would suppress. If it took a 5 to hit them, I'd have to roll a 5 on that dice to suppress them. So it kind of helps with that cover. If it's harder to hit them, it's harder to suppress them. Blitzkrieg Commander 4 made a little change that veterans, and which these guys are, it takes, if in an op fire, they automatically suppress on a 4+ no matter what kind of cover they have. Their thinking is that they hunker down because they're veterans and they want to live. But the interesting thing is it's not harder to hit suppressed troops. So I'm not really sure I'm good on that rule. I may house rule that later. You kind of get what I'm saying, Devin?
Yep. Well,
Yeah.
I think what it is since you're taking opportunity fire, you're taking fire while you're trying to move, so it's going to have a more detritus effect on your troops that you're receiving fire as you're moving. So yeah, I can kind of see how that could be an automatic suppression type situation. And I gotta say, I really like the idea of those the hit wheel. No, most people just put down a little dice or some tokens or something. That's the first time I've ever seen anybody use something like that. Dude, you need to market that. That is a great idea.
Oh, well, I market it for the company. It's called Historique. Histor. Now, let me get it. They've been doing these counters. It's the first time I bought them. Devin, I've used dice for 7 years. I got those little tiny ones.
Yeah, that is just too freaking cool. I could see, like Napoleonics and ACW, where you have massed formations of rank and file that take multiple hits. I could see that being real handy for games like that.
Speaking of markers, there can be a lot of markers in the game. I might start to try to get more creative and find other companies or come up with stuff myself. And yes, Devin, I really like that. So what they often do, will put a logo of like, an armored division or the British Para to kind of mark that. I asked them to say not marked, and I flocked them. So they're a little less
conspicuous.
Thank you. Big word. So what's cool is, so they're not suppressed. If they suppressed, they would be done for the turn. They couldn't do anything. Now, I'm putting a marker next to this machine gun, just reminding me that they op fired. And I'll explain why that's important, besides just remembering that they op fired. In this case, it wouldn't be too hard to remember, but I'm used to doing it. All right, so he moved, nothing happened. So good on him. Let's keep moving the other guys. So these guys are going to move 10. Now here's the question. Devin, if you're the German player, would you op fire on these guys with one of these two platoons? Would you fire on him, or would you want to wait knowing that there's other stuff happening here?
I'd probably want to op fire on the closer guys first because you're starting to run low on your command levels. So there's still a chance that the closer units could get closer into melee with you. The further away units that are reinforcements, they come on. They're not really a big threat unless you roll really, really well on your command rolls. So yeah, I would op fire at the closer units that can be seen immediately.
Okay, well, let's do it then. So that unit, let's look at the hair unit. Hair. Ooh, I did something wrong on that. That's interesting. I need to move over that direction. I need to look something up here real quick. I think my little spreadsheet might be wrong. Please hold. Someone want to put in some music? Well, let's see if I can show this here real quick. Share screen. Tell me what comes up when I do this, Devin, here. So I'm going to say entire screen and share. Oh, wait, it's not doing it. So let's do that. It's going to go really crazy here for a second. What are you seeing right now?
I'm still seeing the battle board.
Huh, I wonder why. Okay, let's try this again.
Oh, okay. Oh, there we go. Now we can see your entire screen with everything on it. The YouTube StreamYard, everything. Chats.
Remove that. Boo. Boo. I got to think of how to show a different screen. That's really strange. I couldn't show that. Okay, well.
Yeah, I know Al was saying he had a hell of a time trying to figure out how to do the screenshots from his end as well when he was first starting to use StreamYard.
Yeah. I'll stop sharing a window. Okay. All right. Anyway, so let's just keep it on these guys for a second while I look up the German stuff. So I got to make sure I did something wrong here in my army list. Building an army list is really easy in this game, so that's cool. I'll probably do a video on that. I'll probably build a couple army lists, maybe just rebuild this one or do another one. Yeah. Okay. So I just got my columns mixed up here. Okay. So that's 430. That wasn't supposed to show up either. Okay. Okay, so sorry about that. So they roll 4 dice. So they have 4 attacks. They roll 4 dice. Of course, they'll hit on 4s. The range was 18. Their total range is 30. If they were within half of that distance, they would get to roll an extra die. So they're just shy of that. So hitting on 4s. I rolled a 1, a 3, and a 4. So they're going to take that hit automatically because they don't have any sort of save. So they're going to take 5 hits. Now we're going to see if they suppress. They do not. Okay. Not going well for the Germans. I mean, they're kind of whittling them down a little bit. The number of hits on the units does not impact the effectiveness of the unit. I suppose that's something else you could do too if you really wanted to. Kind of like games like Memoir 44. You know, you whittle down the things and you have 1 tank left, it still fires the same number of dice. Kind of weird, but whatever. So he fired. And there's that. I made these little markers myself a million years ago. And so he's going to move up 10 and they'll fire again because there's 1 more unit left that can fire. And let's see how far it is because he's going to fire. Oh, he's 20, so he's still within range, but not quite. So he's going to roll 4 dice, same, hit on 4s. Wow, 2, 2, 3, 4. And you'll probably see me breaking out some dice because I don't have enough historic markers. I need to order more. Them. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with them so far. I feel like they're a little fragile, but they work. Okay, let's see if he suppresses. Bam! Finally. Now, again, this would be something I should... Actually, now that I have these bolt action markers, I guess I'll use this just because it's fun. They're blown up there. They're suppressed. So that guy can't fire or do anything. So he's done. All right. So now here's where we come down to a question. So it's going to, now what do I want to do? Well, now I can fire on these guys. I can start whittling them down. I couldn't assault them because I'm not within 10 centimeters of them. So I could move closer. I can maybe try to get in the woods there. Still couldn't do that. Or I can just fire. I say, let's fire. Okay, well, now here's where we come into penalty. So it's going to take me a 6 to command him, right? Because I've now commanded him 3 times. Yeah. But now we have an issue. Once you start getting beyond 20 centimeters, if the furthest guy you're commanding is further than 20 centimeters, now you take an additional penalty because they're getting far away. You can see the abstraction and explain it away however you want. So again, I'm going to keep asking to see if I've explained it. Devin, does that make sense?
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
Although in the day and age of radio communications, I'm not sure how they could justify that, but whatever, it works.
Yeah. Well, I guess I look at it as just you're really pushing your guys, you know, and they're getting but that's not range. So the range, well, gosh, in the case of Arnon, their radios didn't work, but yeah, that's true, radios. But in this case, and again, you could easily, like if they had great communication in that battle, you read something, you know, make it so they don't have that penalty or make it further away or something. You could also say that it's just harder to communicate with them the further they get away. To coordinate, keep them coordinated, I think is a real big part of it.
That I can more agree with.
Yeah,
yep.
Okay, came up with one. Okay, all right, well, so now it's not going to be a 6, it's going to be a 5 to command them. Is it worth trying it? In this case, I'm going to. The risk I have is that I could roll a 12, right? But, you know, what do they say? I could also roll a 2 and get to do 2 things. Oh, so you have to say what you're going to do. These guys can't do anything. I need to look, and I don't know if they've added this, but I kind of think it would be cool if suppressed people could move back and away from enemy.
Would make sense. Every other game we've ever played where suppressed, disrupted, or broken troops have the freedom to move away from enemy formations.
Yeah, another cool thing that they're doing with this 4th edition is the original game had some optional rules in the back of the book. They took those out of the printed edition, and they're making them free PDFs to download. So they have optional rules for weather and terrain, optional rules for Japanese, Russian, armored trains, civilians. They have optional rules general. One of their optional rules is removing suppressions. So I could actually, I'm not going to use that here. I'll look at that another time. But you can use your commander to remove suppression, which I think is cool, which is something you see in other games. This will come off at the end of their turn, so it's not too deadly, you know what I mean? What happens is it's bad when you get it, like if these guys suppress, they won't get it till the end of their turn, so they won't be able to act at all. All right, so you have to say, I'm going to command these guys to fire on them. I'm going to command these guys to fire on them. I could command all these guys to fire on one, but yeah, I want to try to suppress them both, obviously. So I have to roll a 5. Whoo, baby, 3. So this is something that some people don't like about Blitzkrieg Commander and War Master, which this is based on. You can see how many commands I'm getting with these guys, right? And if you're the Germans, you're like, come on, man. But they could have also failed the roll. But I think it's a fun part of the game. Well, I already know they're 18 away. Let me check their firing. I think they have a little bit more firepower. Platoon has 5 at 30, so they're not going to get an additional one. Now it's going to hit on a 5 because they're in the woods. So they're going to roll 5 dice, hitting on 5s. There's 2 hits. I got to roll 1 more die. Damn, I'm rolling lots of 1s. These dice are terrible. So I got 2 hits. There is no save in the woods. You only get that in buildings and bunkers and trenches. So they got 2 hits. Now I need to see if I can roll a 5 on one of these 2 dice that hit them. Bam! And I did. So there's good rolling there. So they got 2 hits. Yeah, I'm going to need more markers. 2 hits, so they're at 4. This one doesn't have flocking. Please don't hold that against me. And they are suppressed. Cool. These guys will fire on him. We know it's not within. I think it's whatever. I don't know. The distance doesn't matter. 5 hitting on 5s. Oh my gosh. 1 hit. Does he suppress? He does. Oh my gosh. That's how it goes, man. Okay. I have a couple more historic markers, but I do not. I think they're in another room, so I'm just going to start using my little dice here. And so in the past, I played this game with 6 mil. That's been the way I've traditionally done it, but I'm moving up to 15s. I've done some videos on that, so I don't know why I moved up to that. I won't get into that now. Okay, well, what do you say, Devin? I say we keep going.
Might as well. You got just as good a chance of something good happening as something bad happening, and hey, maybe you'll get some more commands out of it.
Well, here's something I probably want to do. I probably need to move because this MG42 down there has a bead on both those guys. So I probably want to get them at least, since they can move. Oh, wow, look at that. That's cool. You can see it. He's got a bead on all my dudes. These two guys, they can move. They should probably move up here.
Move up into melee because the Germans are suppressed. There you go.
Yeah. So they're not going to be able to, so they'll move up, and and you can't move within 5 centimeters. Oh, never mind. It's thinking they're concealed, but they fired first. Okay. So I need to move these guys. So now I need to roll. I'm at a 5, but I've got the penalty of distance, so 4 or less. Oh boy, now I'm nervous that machine gun's out there. 7. Wah, wah. Okay, so they're done. There's a lot of stuff they got to do there. All right, well, let's move these guys up here. So let's move the camera. Of course, this would go a lot faster if I wasn't, narrating the entire time. So I reset my little D10 to remember what's going on here. I rolled an 8. So they get to do what I didn't say what they're going to do. I'm bringing these guys on board. I'm not going to worry about reserve rolls and all that stuff. I'm just going to bring them on. I don't even know if there is such a thing. All right, so 10. So my edge of the board's there. So 10 up there. This is just fuzzies to make it look so realistic and real, like I'm really in the field. We'll put him right there. So there's that. So they moved. So I'm just going to move them again, obviously. I might as well try to get into close assault with them, which means I'll have to look that up and make sure I get that right. So my roll needs to be an 8 or less, and I rolled a 7. So the British are having some good command rolls. They're going to move up another 10. So they take 6/6, so really, and I can't move within 5, so I'm good there. Let's just do the whole distance. So it's about 15. So bam, bam, bam. Okay, so now I should have someone 20 centimeters away because I moved twice, right? So so now it's going to be, I need to roll a 6 or less. Now the question is, what do I do? I want to, I might as well assault them, right? Let's just get into it, as they say. Now I need to look this up again. So Devin, what's going on with your life here?
Oh, same as always. Nothing ever changes. Talking slow because I'm trying to drag the time out to give you time to look everything up. I do think it's a little bit odd that that they can only op fire once. Now, granted, that's something we see in a lot in miniature gaming, but and I hate to refer to the squad ASL. They could at least op fire more than just once, because what it comes down to in a situation like this is just who's got the most numbers, and as long as you can keep rolling your command rolls, you're going to get up close without any fear of retribution.
Right. Yes. Right. But it's interesting, and it could be me. I play a lot of solo, right? So I need to play more people so that I can see other strategies and stuff. But it doesn't ever seem to be. It never seems really easy as the attacker. You know what I mean? In this case, it looks like it's going to be easier. But if you know what I mean, it seems, because you should be like, this could work. But again, I could have rolled terribly for the British and not moved up. But in this case, it's looking pretty good. All right, so what do I need to do to close assault here? Let's see. Let's see. As I hum and kind of hem and haw. Center to center. Okay. So that one guy on the left is not going to be able to close assault that guy because he's not close enough. He's not within 10. That's fine. I can just move him up so he can get ready to do it next time. Yeah, and then that's another thing. I wish I could move and fire, but that's not an option in here. So I thought there was a penalty for something for command roll to go into close assault. Probably not for paras. Okay. Yes, it would be. There is a penalty. do not believe. Oh, shoot. I forgot. The British get to re-roll any ones they roll on firing and close assault. Shoot, I rolled a bunch of ones. Oh, well. So there's the roll, people. Because they are paras, they get to re-roll ones, which is pretty cool. I mean, that's very powerful. Because I rolled what? How many? I rolled a lot of ones on these firing. Okay. So the British, I'm pretty sure, do not have to roll that one to go into a thing. So it's going to be a 7. Or nope, I said a 6 because they're 20 centimeters away to go into assault. And I think I'm just going to command them, and they'll move into contact. Now, normally you get to do op fire, but these guys have already op fired, which, as you say, is a bad thing, and that maybe, right, they should be able to do that. They must be unsuppressed. So even if they hadn't fired, if they were suppressed, they couldn't, which I do like that, because that's the whole point of suppression, right? But they also have support, but there is no one here supporting them. Where is that? Devin, if you're going to do a video kind of talking about how to play a game, you really should know how to play the game.
Oh, please. Have you seen some of the videos I've done?
Okay. Any unit with a range attack value can support an assault, even if it can't normally cause any hits against the enemy unit. The exceptions to this are command or recce, but brown units must be within 10 centimeters in line of sight of a friendly unit in contact. Oh, yeah. So there is a 180-degree line of sight for the troops. So just meaning kind of the platoon has kind of a frontage that they're focused on, right? So in this case, these guys, well, I guess the question would be, could these guys really see them because they're in woods? I don't know about that, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. But he can't support him anyway. He's suppressed. So wah again. So that was a very good preparation for this. So normally that unit over there, that German unit, let's see, where's my camera pointing? Let's get up there. The German unit there could support this defending of this, which is kind of cool, but he's not going to be able to because he's suppressed. So let's command him. I got to do a 6 or less, and then this guy will just move up to get within range to do that. 6, come on, baby. Okay, or not. I roll an 8. He is finished. So that's kind of anticlimactic. But that's a part of the fortunes of war, right? Am I right? Okay, I've got 3 more units to do something with. So tank, I'm kind of doing something a little different. I'm taking a little liberties here. I'm going to say he's self-commanded. So even a tank, so this is 5 tanks. Again, I know this is kind of weird for people, but you, so this is like 3 to 5 tanks. Normally I'd have a command unit for that, but I'd say this time I'm just going to say they're self-commanded. So I'm going to roll command rolls for them. Again, the flexibility of the BKC system. I was originally going to bring this guy up on this hill and maybe fire on that Stug that's in the woods. But I'm tempted to go support these guys over attacking these woods. Any thoughts, Devin?
Can they even see those Stugs?
Well, not yet. He's going to have to move up on top of this hill. And then, the Stug, I would probably fire if I were the Stug. I could go around the hill here or some, thing here. Of course, the Stug's got a limited visibility, right? He's got 45 degrees or whatever it is. I put 2 dice on either side of him, like a 2 or a 3 to kind of show his visibility range. So it's like that. So pretty much you'll be able to hit him wherever the tank goes. I wonder if I put that in the woods for a reason. It's like I thought about it. So this is me, Todd, struggling with how to attack it if I were a better tactician, like the original Grognard. Have you seen
You've seen my videos, right?
I did see that. Great. Everybody go watch Devin playing the electronic, the E version of Lock and Load Tactical.
Yes, and witness the marvelous melee that I got involved with.
Again, it was British pairs against Germans, right?
It was 6th Airborne, British 6th Airborne.
So, no problem. I don't know. What'd you have, like 3 squads going in?
I had two assault squads and 1 line squad. So yeah,
okay. Yeah, against some Germans or other. Well, whatever. Anyway, they all got wiped out. Both sides.
It went poorly for the Germans.
I thought some of those guys, Devin, were shaken when you went into close combat with them.
The Brits were shaken, not the Germans. There was one or two of the Brit. I think there was 2 Brit squads that were shaken, which was one of the reasons why I pushed those guys in there, but didn't seem to help me any.
I thought the shaken guys automatically were broke or defeated in close combat.
Yeah, they were. I mean, I looked down in the lower right hand where the text window was, and the shaken guys were eliminated. So that only left like 1 or 2 squads, Brit squads, in that hex, and they managed to wipe out all my Germans. I don't know how it happened. It just went poorly.
Dang, I did not. That was crazy.
Yeah.
Well, let's just get this game moving. So let's just get up there and get this Stug. The Stug will probably take out the Sherman right away, but hey, whatever, right? So, we got to command it. He's got the same command value. I'm going to make him a 9. Actually, he would probably not. He would probably actually have an 8, right? Because he is not a British para. So I am going to say an 8 for him. So to command him is an 8. Got a 7. Beautiful. This could get scary quick. All right, so I can move 20. There's no moving and firing here because you get to command multiple. All right, you know what I'd do if I was that Stug? I'd fire. I don't care about revealing my spot. You had this beautiful guy move up in my way, so let's op fire. Do you agree, Devin?
I probably wouldn't.
You wouldn't?
Just because the Sherman still can't see the Stug yet. And by moving up on that hill, you're kind of pulling yourself out of position to assist the assaulting troops in the forest. I would probably hold off firing on the Shermans until it's the Germans' turn, just because then that'll give the Germans the advantage. Because if you op fire right now, bam, that's one shot. You miss, the Shermans are just going to keep getting command rolls to continue shooting back at you to try to kill you. Yeah, I personally wouldn't reveal the Stug at this time.
And so, just so you know, the Stug is revealed if he's in woods like this when the tank gets within 20 or infantry. They're visible within 20 centimeters. So that Sherman's going to have to get up to here. Can we see? Yeah, you can see. The Sherman's going to have to get up to there to move this around, get a little different perspective, and try not to get the famous gamer crotch shot. So
but even still, that forces the Sherman to burn more and more of its potential command rolls to get closer and closer. So
okay, well, let's see what happens. I'm going to command and move him up. So this is it doesn't matter. I rolled an 11. Whew. So that Sherman's done. So that was a good move, Devin, on the Germans' part.
It's all academic anyways.
Yeah, exactly. I should have just rolled it. But all right, now here's something I kind of have to read up on. So I've got a Vickers over here. I definitely don't want to I don't think I want to put my Vickers up on a hill where the Stug could see him. Oh, typically on a hill, by the way, you kind of draw a line halfway on the hill, and that is your kind of crest line. So if my Vickers is back here, it can't see them, they can't see him. Once they get to the halfway point or further up, then he can be seen. And it's just one thing, kind of a friendly agreement. You could measure and get all crazy, but you could just go like here. So if I move back here, I'm fine. Move up here, I can be seen. So my Vickers machine gun, I was kind of wanting to use them because these guys are in trenches up here. But now I kind of wish I would have put them all over here. I could probably move my Vickers over around this side and fire on them in a turn. So let's do that. So this is, so he commanded, everyone's commanded, but now I got my CO left. So he's the top commander. So he's going to command these guys. He's going to command the Vicker to move like so. He's still behind the hill. He can, so he's not going to get hit by any of those guys. But he could fire. I'll say, could he fire if I move there? That's kind of itchy. That's a questionable. Yeah, I could say. So I'm going to have to move around the hill. It's going to expose me a little bit. And then the mortar can fire direct, but it can also fire indirect and what I mean by direct is within line of sight. So it's still indirect fire because it's a mortar. But he can fire what he can see within line of sight, or he can fire on somebody that is within 20 centimeters of the commander. Blah, blah, this is complicated. And anyway, basically, these guys see him, he could fire. But the problem is they're not within 20 centimeters of my command unit. So that's not going to happen this turn. That makes me itchy and upset and sad in my heart. So I probably just want to move them. Oh, so right now there's a, well, I'm not going to worry about it. Let's say that they have to do what they call a deploy action, because they have to kind of put their all their stuff away on a so like infantry guns, pack guns or whatever, mortars. They have to kind of pack up their gear and move. They can't just move around and shoot too easily. So they're going to do a deploy action, get their mortar ready to go. MG42s don't. You could argue that they need one, but they don't. So these guys are basically going to move and get within sight to support that battle over there. All right, so command roll. Now he's a 10. If the CO, once the CO fails, no one can command. So you want to command with the CO last. If that makes sense. Does that make sense, Devin?
No, but I can see what they're doing from a thematic approach.
Yeah.
Why the commanding officer, the battalion commander, a couple kilometers away, if he fails a command roll, why that has any effect on the pre-done battle plans that his sub commanders have been assigned and tasked to do. It doesn't make much sense to me, but if it fits within the bounds of the game, then okay.
yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, it kind of pretty much defaults that you're going to command with them last, right? Because that would suck to do that. So anyway, he's a 10. There's no things. These guys are just moving. So deploying, moving, and there we go. 8. So they're good. I could get a lot of rolls. The way these guys were rolling initially. So they're deployed up. So I just put a little marker there to remember that. These guys will move 10. And you can move through your units, no problem. And let's see if they can see them now. It's one thing about miniature games, man. Line of sight and all that business. Kind of squirrely. Okay, so now I'm going to command the mortar to move and the machine gun to, I'm also get the machine gun better. How far is that? Because now I kind of risk that, because that Stu can attack infantry at 80 centimeters. So I got that tank there. It's the beauty of tanks. They kind of distract fire. All right, so I'm going to, I'll fire my machine gun, and I will move the mortar. So I have to roll a 9 or less. 5. And so the machine, let's move. You can't fire through your own dude, so I'm going to wait to move the mortar. Actually, I can move him over this way. And move him over here. Okay. And now the machine gun will fire. So what does the Vickers have? Probably 3, but the range is 60. So they're going to roll 3 dice. They're definitely within range, but are they within 30? Ooh, just shy. 32. So 3 dice, hitting on 5s. If I were shooting on their flank, which I'm going to say they're not since the woods are there, you could add a die. So they got a 6, so they hit them. So it's going to add a hit. Now here's where a fun part goes. If I roll a 5, something different will happen. Oh, sweet. Okay. So excited. All right, so I got 1 hit, so that's going to add 2 hits now. So that means they have 4 left. All right. So I roll for suppression as normal. However, they are already suppressed. So something a little different happens. If a unit is already suppressed, then it will fall back instead. I will roll 1d6 for each unsaved hit taken in the current attack. And total, roll 1d6 for each unsaved hit. So I had 1 unsaved hit. I rolled that dice already, didn't I, Debbie?
You did.
I rolled it a second. Okay. Total the scores, and the unit must fall back this. Okay, so I rolled a 6. They're going to move back 6 centimeters directly away from the nearest enemy that fired. It will also turn to face the enemy unit as a part of the fallback move. So it's not going to be flanked. He's like, because some of the platoon is firing and all that. So they stay suppressed, of course, and they're going to move back 6 centimeters. Well, here's a cool thing. Let's say I had 2 hits on them, and I'm now rolling 2 dice to see how far back they're going to move back. Shoot, I didn't look in. Did I roll a 1? I did. Remember that problem I had? Woo! Another hit. Remember, Perez gets to re-roll 1s on firing. And I did roll a 1 on that. And so that's another hit. And all right, so they're going to fall back 10 now. Not. Oh, shoot, man. All right, if they fall back further than 10 centimeters, they are knocked out of the game because they were so suppressed. But unfortunately, they just moved back exactly 10. That's 3 hits on them, and they're suppressed and moved back in the woods. So that's good for the British.
Don't they have to move directly away from the unit that fired at them?
Correct. Thank you. So he was up there. So thank you. So many markers. That drives some people crazy. Okay. All right. Well, let's command them again. But now I will unlimber the machine gun. I'm sorry, unlimber the mortar because, well, actually, can they see those guys? I lost my target. I'm going to say they can't see them. So both of them are going to move. So it's an 8. Uh-oh, 11. So now they don't get to do anything. All right, so that's it for the British Paras of turn 1. So now what do? Well, now you, first of all, you take any suppressions off. So this suppression that they got, let's back up here, that comes off them for that turn. So that's cool. The German suppression is going to come off of them at the end of the turn, their turn. So that's good because now they don't get, for the Germans, now that are British, they don't get to do anything their turn. Okay. Now you move your commanders. So they move, HQs have a move of 40, and the CO has a move of 60. Again, remember, it's abstracted. So basically, I always just kind of move them up like in front of, move them like in front of the troops. I could move them way up. Actually, these guys I could move way up because the Germans aren't going to be able to do anything because they can be overrun. So they can be overrun or assaulted, and they can be affected by artillery, which we don't have in this particular game. So you can't attack them with machine gun fire directly, but you can overrun them, so to speak. So you don't want to get them too close to the enemy. But in this case, it doesn't really matter. But I'm going to move that guy up here, just right behind him, since they are close. And really, I could move him, kind of going mamby-pamby. I feel comfortable moving him into the woods here. Kind of risky, but I shouldn't have any problem. I say that, Devin, and then I will. Okay. Now, my CO, where do I want to move him? I kind of have my guys move in this direction. No one can fire on him, and I doubt that Stug's going to get such good rolls. He's going to be overrun my CO, which would be a problem. So I think what I'll do is I will move him up, since I think I'm going to kind of have him swing around and go into these woods with this team here, which was bad placement on my part initially. So I'm going to have him move up. I don't want to be more than 20 centimeters, so I'll move him up to here. So now he's within, so there'll be no penalties. That's that. This guy's self-commanding. He can't do anything else. So that's turn 1 for the British. Any questions, Devin? Does it make sense? See if
no, it makes sense so far.
Any questions here on the thing? House of Hengist terrain map looks cool with clump. Well done, thank you, sir. He's a House of Hengist has some interesting videos. He's very historical focused, so he'll study a battle, show you maps, pictures, and he does this like whole campaigns. His games are crazy. He actually uses Flames of War. Well, he started out using Flames of War, and he's kind of changed it over to Octoon Panther, I believe. That doesn't sound right. If you're still on House, let me know what it's called. But they've really tweaked the rules, kind of using the same concepts. But his games are amazing to look at, and he's very historical focused, not tournament driven. So I dig that. He doesn't. He does his battle reports are really well done. So he's not coming out with them daily. He puts a lot of time and energy behind it. Okay, so no other comments right now that I can see. Oh yeah, I forgot I could do that here. This is a cool thing. I can show the things. Yeah. All right. So now it's the German's turn. German turn 1. First thing you do is initiative phase. There is no one within 25 centimeters of anybody. There were Germans that can't do anything. Now here's another thing. Let's say they weren't suppressed. They performed op fire in that previous turn, which is why I have that marker there. They couldn't do any initiative. This kind of shows they were too busy doing that stuff to take advantage of that moment. So that's a cost of doing op fire. You're not going to be able to do initiative that next turn. So it's it does cost a lot, if you know what I mean. And you know what? While we're talking about stuff, let's look at suppression and make sure that if nothing has changed with the rules. They cannot do anything in their turn and may only issue orders at a significant disadvantage. Okay, so they cannot do anything. Again, that's a rule you could add if you felt like it didn't portray the game as well, or the battle as well. And to me, it wouldn't break the game. You're just allowing the troops to last longer, obviously. So right now, there's nothing these German guys can do here. So now my machine gun, his commander's back here. Didn't really look where I placed them. Oh boy, did I not place them? That wasn't very smart. Okay, yeah, I did place them. I did think through. I was smart, yay. Here's one problem putting them with the CO is that I could try to command them to fire, but they have to go last. You got to think through that. So you can assign anybody in their game as written. You can be very flexible on how you command troops. So like this commander could command these guys here and these guys the next turn if it wanted. And then the next turn, this guy could command this guy and no one else. Or I like to play with I've always played, let's see, let me try it. In version 4, they've made an optional rule called fixed formations. So this guy, these are his units the whole game. You kind of set it. That's the way I've always played it, even without the optional rule, because to me that was more realistic. You don't just take and swap in platoons with platoons that easily, in my opinion. And in addition, there's already a penalty. Now the British don't have it and the Germans don't because they have flexible doctrine. I am able to command some other troops. Like say I needed to pull a platoon in without a penalty. I'm okay doing that occasionally, I guess, but I don't do that a lot. But then some troops have a penalty for doing that. I said a lot of things there. If you have questions, ask. Okay. Well, the Germans here, so I've got 2 platoons sitting back here in trenches. Nothing to do with them, right? They're just going to wait. No need for them to do anything. Here's the stew. Do I want to do anything with them? I could fire on that guy. Once he does that, he's rebuild for the rest of the until he moves out of cover and then comes back in. Then you know what I mean? I could move him backwards and then bring him back up and he would be concealed again, which is kind of weird, but it's kind of rules written. So I might as well fire on that guy. Or what do you think? Do you want to stay hidden, Devin?
Nah, you're in a good position. You're at a chance where you can get multiple command rolls to get multiple shots off at him. Yeah, I think you can blow those Shermans off the hill.
All right, let's do it. All right, so he's self-commanded. 8. 9.
Well, at least they're still concealed.
Well, okay, so here's I'll tell you something cool that can happen here in just a minute. So he's still concealed. That's true. So the guys in the trenches aren't going to do anything. The guys in the force can't do anything. Well, now I want to fire my my machine gun, my MG42, and can I fire that infantry gun? Yes, I can. So I put the infantry gun up on the hill so that they can see over this crops. So they can see both these units here. I hope I have the range for that. That's hilarious. So I wonder if I have the range. So the range to the closest guy is, oh boy, 85. It's the range on an infantry gun. I bet it's probably, I wouldn't be surprised if it's not that. Oh, that helps. I didn't look that up. Again, more hold music. Well, I hope this is helpful for people who haven't played and they're interested in playing. I know it's a little, it's not a, I did not mean for this to be a tutorial video, but more just an experience of what it's like. An experience. I think that would be an IG 7.7. His range is 80. How far away did I say it was?
82, I think.
Oh my gosh. Come on. I guess I could roll him forward, but he's going to have to deploy, roll forward. And he's not, yeah, forget that. That's a bummer, dude. Okay, well, it doesn't matter. He's an 80. You can also fire tanks at 2 for 4. So I can roll 3 dice at 80. I mean, that's pretty cool. I don't have to worry about that. So, all right, let's fire that machine gun, shall we? All right, so here's something. So that CO back there, you can't see him. He's behind the crops back there, hiding like a coward. He can actually command units that weren't able to be commanded this turn. So he can actually command that tank because he's the CO. He is, however, a long way away. He is nearly 60. So anything over 20, so he's actually going to take 2 penalties. He's going to be a -2. He's a 9, so it's going to take a 7 to command him. So I take a chance here. I can command the Stug and the machine gun at the same time, needing a 7 to roll to command for them both to fire. Or I could at least fire the machine gun, command the machine gun. So that's what's cool about it. There's a lot of options here. I feel like I want to command the machine gun and make sure that guy fires. So I'm going to roll for the, so what I can do is I can have that machine gun fire and then stop commanding him and then try to command the Stug on a separate roll. If that makes sense. So the commander's going to command the machine gun to fire. I need a 9. If he fails this, it doesn't matter.
Well, that little clarification.
Yes, sir.
You said earlier last turn when the German squad in the forest, the one that suppressed, the one that didn't run away, op fired, he got marked with that little chit. And because of that, he wasn't able to activate or take initiative in his turn, correct?
He wasn't able to act in the initiative phase.
Oh, in the initiative phase. Okay.
Initiative phase, command phase, and a third phase, and I'm forgetting.
Gotcha. Okay, because I was a little bit confused because the MG did op fire as well, and I was wondering how, but I didn't realize it was just an initiative phase, and difference was between that and the command phase. Yep.
So 4 phases. They're scheduled. So scheduled is when you have any artillery or airstrikes that's scheduled to come in a turn. That happens. Then you have your initiative phase. Then you have your command phase, and then your end phase where you take off stuff, clean off markers, and all that. So we are currently in the command phase. You're right, Devin. I didn't really explain that clearly, so thank you for asking that. So in the initiative phase, that machine gun couldn't do anything. Now in the command phase, he can. However, there is a penalty, a -1 CV penalty. Again, it's very expensive to op fire. Not that I'm talking it through with someone. So it's not going to be a 9 to command him. It's going to be an 8 because he has done something. It's a little challenging. So let's do this. It's an 8 to command the machine gun. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I've rolled what we call a foobar.
Uh-oh.
Wah, wah. So this is my first foobar in version 4. Let's make sure I got the right sheet. I am now going to roll. That foobar is 12. I'm now going to roll 2 dice on a command blunder chart. That's only a 6, so you know the middle ones are not too extreme. So 6, all units under command make 1 half move directly toward the nearest visible enemy unit. So it's not too bad, but now they don't have their cover. And now they can be seen. Well, they were going to fire anyway, but now they're outside, right outside this road. The commander's going, whoa, 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 what are you doing? Now, but here's a problem, Devin.
Well, doesn't the grain work like the woods where you stop when you hit the edge of the woods? Or was he at the edge of the grain to begin with?
He was at the edge of the grain so he could fire.
Ah, okay. I was trying to save him.
You did. I appreciate that. And so in woods and, well, crops you can determine, but I'd say these are tall crops. You can see 5 centimeters into it. you know, that kind of thing as well, just for
Yep.
visibility, line of sight purposes. Well, too bad. The CO failed on a 12, so now he can't do any commanding. He's done for the turn. Well, so too bad for the Germans. Their MG42 is now exposed, but fortunately there's no one around that can really do any damage to him. Because that's still too far for the infantry platoon. Well, that was an unfortunate move for the Germans.
That was a great turn for the Germans.
Great, fantastic. All right, so here's some things. Now we're in the end phase. We're going to clean up any markers. So this op fire markers come off because they've suffered the penalties for that, doing that. The suppression also comes off for the Germans, so that's good. We now know what we're going to be trying to do for that to happen. It's a little bummer though. I kind of now wish I need to move this machine gun and this mortar in under command of these platoons or these companies so that they could utilize their benefits in their attacking. Again, someday maybe I'll learn how to play a game. Okay. All right, so here now, British turn 2. We're at turn 2. I turn my little dice as normal. Like I said, I'm just gonna go through 2 turns. I hope we're getting to experience a lot of stuff here. Let's hope we can maybe get a close assault happen here. But now my machine gun can still op fire, so he's able to do that. My Stu can still op fire. The Sherman cannot see the Stu. Let's get going here. So that's the initiative phase. All right. Oh, sweet. So initiative phase. Any troops? Oh, but I'm not within 10 centimeters. So for the Germans, it was very good. Oh, wait, let's see. We got another mark here. Coltonel. I think it's pretty cool doing these live plays. Definitely enjoy them. Thank you. Appreciate that. Okay, so good for the Germans. This unit that had to go back, if he hadn't gone back, these guys could close assault him in the initiative phase. But now they can't. And now no one can close assault these guys because they're not within 10 centimeters, not within move distance. If that makes sense. But what's cool is that I can, I may have to mute the mic here. Something might be happening here. Hold on. Live sounds like my son's choking. I think he's fine. All right, I'm going to pause mute here just a second, please, everybody. You can Devin will talk about, I don't know, helping build a house or something.
Oh, sure. Put me on the spot. Now I have to. Why don't we just go dead air? Dead air is a lot easier. People are wanting to watch you. They don't want to hear about my boring life. But anyways, I am Devin, the original Grognard, one of Todd's cohorts in crime in gaming, I guess you could say. I got my own channel. Check it out. I do more Hex and Counter tactical board game stuff rather than miniature gaming. I used to do a lot of miniature gaming. I don't do it anymore. Big fat fingers, very poor eyesight, makes for painting tiny men very difficult. So, yeah. That's all about me. I suppose I could sing and put on a little dance, but trust me, you don't want to hear me sing. So, Jeopardy theme, maybe? Ba, 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 ba. Oh, that even I can't do the Jeopardy theme that good. See, that's why you don't want me singing. Wow, he's taking a long time to get back. His kid. I was wondering if you were having to give your kid the Heimlich maneuver.
Oh yeah, that did kind of sound bad. My kid's choking just a minute. He wasn't choking. Just a discussion about homework and et cetera, et cetera. Life stuff. Everything's fine and wonderful.
Yay.
Yeah, you know. Okay. Oh, shoot. One thing I didn't do at the end of the German turn was move commanders. And I'm going to go back and retro that because this commander here for the Germans is threatened by these British paras. So he would definitely move back. I'll keep them in the woods because I don't think the British are going to get that far. And I don't think, yes, I would move this German up here to kind of be within 20 of his guys. So, okay, that's something I forgot to do. Okay, here we go. Initiative. So I think I most assuredly want to fire. So these guys can't be seen because they're 5 centimeters deep into the woods. I don't think. I don't know if I can fire. I don't know if I can fire off a mortar in initiative with. Oh, he's deployed anyway. He can't do it anyway. What the look about that? Okay, so I think I should fire with these guys onto him, and then assault with these guys because they're closer. But another thing you can do with initiative is actually just move. And during the initiative move, Devin, this is kind of critical. They can't get op fired on during initiative.
Really?
So, because it's my initiative, I'm moving on my initiative. So I am going to do that. These guys are going to move up here. He can still be seen by that machine gun, but this guy will now move out of that. And then these guys will fire on him. Woohoo! Yip-de-doo. So I'm just going to put one marker. So initiative. So they take initiative. There will be a command penalty for doing that. So I'm taking that chance. I'm paying that price. But I think it's a price worth paying. I'm going to fire 3 platoons onto 1 platoon in the woods. And here we go. Where's my machine gun? So paraplatoon, 5 at 30. Am I within 15? This could get ugly. Ooh, he's right there. So now everyone gets to roll 6 dice, hitting on 5s. I've already, I don't know on initiative. Actually, initiative probably just goes one platoon at a time. So I'm just this platoon will fire on him. 6 dice, hitting on 5s. So that was 4 dice. So, and I got 1 hit. Oh my gosh, man, these dice. I got 1 hit out of 6 dice. So there's no save, but does he suppress? No, he does not suppress. But he's down to 3. This guy's going to fire. 6 dice. That's what I'm talking about. All right, that's 3 hits. He's only got 3 hits left. He's done. I just wiped out a German platoon. Wah, wah. Now I wish I would have moved my guy. Dang it. So I could have moved this guy into the woods, and then he would have been prepared to do something against those Germans. Oh, man, but you know, hindsight, right? Ah, dang it. Okay. And I think that's it. Now it comes into the command phase. So the first thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and move those guys out of the open. So I'm going to work with these. Now, here's a little bit of a weird deal. You can't move within 5 centimeters of a visible unit. Right now, these guys aren't visible. So I kind of play it as that, just moving stuff around here. Like if this guy, he's probably within 5 centimeters of that border. Oh, well, if that's the case, then they can see him. Oh, he's exactly 5. Again, another thing with miniature rules, right? It's like, it's like a little over 5, but barely. Gentleman's rules. All right, I'm going to say they can see him. So I'm going to move those guys in. So let's move. And gosh, if he's within 5, I could fire. So this commander's going to have this guy fire on him. And then these 2 guys are going to move in. So I will fire first. They have a -1 CV because they did initiative. So I'm now rolling on and needing an 8. Got a 7. So he's going to fire. It's 5 dice. Yep, 6 dice because I'm within. Usually I have more 6s. I don't know where all my 6s are. They're just somewhere else. Need 5s. 2 hits. 3 hits. So I got 3 hits on him, and doesn't matter. He's dead. Okay. That is 2 German platoons wiped out. That went easier than normal. Now these guys are going to move. So the woods are now clear of the Germans. I never have this good luck on attacking. Okay, so he's going to move. So as I move, I don't even think I need to ask this question, Devin. These guys will fire on him as they start moving. The MG42. He's not within 30. I think it was 3 dice, right? That's a cool thing I like about this game. There's not a lot of chart lookup. Just kind of remembering what stats are and stuff. Oh, the question is he firing on his flank? He is. So I get to roll another die. So now I'm rolling 4 dice, hitting on 4s. 2 hits. Does he suppress? He does not suppress. Holy cow. So he's down to 3 hits. That's crazy. These British are not suppressing. I mean, what's cool about it is it kind of makes sense, right? But it's only because of die rolls. Well, and Devin, you asked if this machine gun needed to stop out of these dense wood, these dense but crops. They do not because they're an infantry unit.
Yep. Okay.
But again, you could certainly make that if like it was known that these woods or crops it was muddy or something like that. If you know what I mean. If you know what I mean.
Yep.
Now it doesn't really matter because this commander doesn't have anything to do, but I could now overrun this command, which would take a commander away from the Germans. I only gave them 2 commanders because I wanted to. This is easier on the British than I thought. Okay. And like I said, this was not a well-designed scenario. This is just one. Okay, well, I might as well keep going, right? I might as well get up to the edge of the woods and command these guys. There's a -1 for the penalty. Are they 20 centimeters away? It's allowed. No, they're not. Also, another penalty that some people take would be for tanks. So if a tank was moving into the woods or a city, there would be a -1 for commanding in dense terrain. So it's harder to get them to do what they need to do and coordinate in dense terrain. Again, you could certainly do that with infantry troops, like say maybe you're in Stalingrad or somewhere, you can make it tougher for them to do that. But man, once you start getting Stalingrad and you hit on 6s, they save on 5. I mean, it's really hard to get troops out. Well, so these troops are just going to try to overrun that command, and this is going to just try to get this guy to move up into the woods. And so I'm rolling an 8, but it's a -1, so it's a 7. Ooh, 11. So that's done. They're done. I'd say that was a pretty good turn for the British on that turn. These next guys. Now here's the problem, Devin. I got this long. Let's see. I'm going to move my camera. Sorry, everyone. Hold on. Don't get sick. Now I've got this large open terrain I'm going to have to cover. I'm probably not going to get to it in this next because I'm going to finish on this turn. But then they have to cross this area, and you got troops in trenches. I almost wonder if I do sweep my tank around and let's go for this weak side, because this is like the little fortress here. And normally you would have, I can't remember, I think it's 12 turns maybe or 10 turns. Obviously in this small, but you adjust it by how big your board is. So in this board being a small board, you'd probably make it maybe 6 to 8 turns to achieve your objective, not 10 or 12. Because you can see sometimes you get multiple turns worth of actions, and sometimes you don't get any. All right, so let's move. Oh shoot, I can't see those guys. I need to reveal those troops. So there are recce troops in Blitzkrieg Commander to help you reveal conceal people and stuff like that. They have really changed them quite radically from the last version, so I do not have those down yet. But it's critical. Like I said, if they're in cover, if they're in trenches, it is. Besides that tactic that you had, Devin, which is the tactic I have, you just go, okay, sorry boys, go up and see what you can happen here. And in this case, it worked out for the British, really, because they weren't suppressing. All right, so let's roll command. It's -1 because they did well. If I'm commanding all these units together, which I will, this guy even suffers the penalty that these guys acted on initiative. So it's an 8. Ooh, and I rolled an 11. So there you go. The British don't get to do anything, but my CO can try to command them too if I want. But I'm not done yet. The tank. So Sherman, do I get up there and try to get that Stug exposed, or do I sweep around and help on the easier side? What do you think, Devin?
Well, right now the biggest threat to you are those Stugs there. So I would sweep around, try to knock out the Stugs. If you knock out the Stugs, then you take the Sherman, sweep around, maybe go after the infantry gun on the hill then.
Yeah, that's a good idea. John Lennon, no saves for being in the woods. That is correct. They make it harder to hit, but you don't save. Again, if it didn't work for you and they were really dense woods, you can certainly add it and make it so they save on a, maybe save on a 6 or something. But let me check that. Let me make sure I'm remembering the rules correctly. I have been known not to. Nope, no save in there. Al Red Sox's fan, what's up? You say hell. I think you meant hello. You did. You saved yourself. And then we got OG and no save. Oh, you got it. Harder to hit troops in those. Oh, okay. Well, I didn't need to answer. Devin answered that question. Okay. All right, let's do it. Let's, I think, yeah, I'm going to roll him around this side, starting to try to move into his flank. But, I'm going to get shot at here, no doubt. So remember I said he's an 8. So let's roll an 8. And my command is I got to expose the guy. Got to get closer. 5. Cool. So the next roll will be a 7. Let's see here. I'm going to start going. I don't want to expose my flank to him. So it doesn't really matter. I might as well get as close as I can. All right. So now, Devin, I'm,
Yeah, now it's a good time for the Stug top fire.
Yeah, the Stug will fire. Oh, okay. I'm not going to worry about it. I could have maybe moved the tank. Well, whatever. If I would have turned the tank to go get more to out of his 45 degree, the Stug would have fired for sure, right? Like, I'm not letting you get to my side. Bam. All right. See, I moved from there. Yeah, I can move there without turning and exploding. So he's going to fire on him. Let's see. I think I looked this up, but I forgot it already. So he's rolling 3 dice. Oh, I need to look that up since I made a mess up on the thing here. Let's look at Stug. Armor. Stug, it is 480. Okay, so yeah, I gotta fix my spreadsheet. AP. Okay. 4 dice at 80. He's within 40 centimeters, so now he's gonna roll an extra die. He's out in the open. I'm hitting on 5s. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm hitting on 4s. Let's start over. 4 dice, 4 attacks. I'm within half my maximum range, so now I get 5 dice. I'm hitting on 4s. 1 hit. Man, guess where these dice are going? These would be great for a squad leader. 1 hit out of 5 dice. But that's fine. The Sherman does get a save, though. Sherman Merman. Sherman Merman gets a save of... what am I not seeing here? You see? He's a save of 5. So I have to roll a 5 just higher to save that hit. Baby. Saved it. So it worked out. So now guess what the Sherman's going to do? Well, the question is, does the Sherman just skirt around? Oh, all the infantry troops have Fausts too, so. But you have to be pretty close for those bad boys. 5 centimeters. Okay, sure. Devin, do I shoot at that Stu, or do I go around him? I want to fire on him.
What's your command at now? 7?
7.
You got roughly an even chance to get around on his flank and fire into his flank. If you want to be risky, push yourself, try to get around on his flank. Nothing's going to shoot at you. You're free and clear from op fire. The only thing you have to worry about is that command roll. If you're not feeling so gutsy, man, take the shots now.
Let's do it. I'm going to go to his side, and then hopefully I get another command. This is a weird thing with self-command. I don't suffer that penalty for moving. Wah, 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 wah.
Did you roll a 12? Did you roll a 12?
No, I rolled an 8.
Aw.
Come on, man.
That's okay. The Stug can't roll to activate to save his life, so.
Yeah, good point. Okay, so now it's the CO's turn. So, shoot. All right, well, remember, the CO can command these guys who didn't get a chance to move. You can also do something with these Vickers in this. So he needs to get these guys cranking and banking? No, that doesn't make sense. Cranking and something. Okay. Okay, so the CO is going to command. He's going to command everybody. He starts with a 10, so we got a lot of movement there. So he's going to try to command everybody. These guys that couldn't move, and these guys who need to move. So it's going to be a 9. Well, he deserves a penalty for distance. I could just not command. Oh, dang it. All right. It's going to be an 8. I need to roll an 8 to command. Woo! 8. All right, so I didn't say it, but these guys are moving into the woods. I don't know why I like this game so much. I just really do. I'm in love with this game, Devin. Okay, just kidding. Okay, that was getting weird. All right. But Al Red Sox is listening, so, weird is his middle name, isn't it?
Only on Saturday nights.
Yeah. Okay, so I moved. So now I'm going to try to move again. So there it's going to be a 7 to command because the distance away and the -1. I could just, maybe I should stop. You know what? I don't want to risk it. I want these guys to get out of cover, so I'm going to stop commanding these guys here. So that means I can't command them again. Once I stop commanding them, they're done. But now I can keep commanding these guys. It's going to be a 9 to command to keep moving. Okay. 10 is not very far.
No option for double time, or is it just?
Well, your double time is that you get to multi-command like I'm doing,
Ah.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay, so it's an 8. Let's move them into the woods. Whew, dang, 11. He is out there in the open, that machine gun. All right, so now all the commanders get to move. For the British, I would just move him into the woods. I would move this commander up to the edge of the woods. This is interesting. This guy's way back here. Okay, you got to remember he's with them. He's not going to get overrun by that. HQs can't initiate combat with each other, so let's put him in the middle of the woods. And he moved. Okay. All right, so German turn 2. Let's see what the Germans can do to the British, and then we'll call it good for the day. So British initiative phase. Well, these guys can't initiative, and these guys can't initiative, and that's the only people that can see anybody. These guys aren't close enough to attack them.
What about the infantry gun on the hill? Can they see the Sherman?
No, they can't see through the woods. I consider this kind of like higher than the crops, but not higher. You have to get like, 3 levels high to get above the trees.
Gotcha.
I mean, they're kind of loosey-goosey with that, so I just kind of like, that's kind of how I'm saying it. But so he cannot see him. That's a good point. Yeah, here's another good point. Should I turn that infantry gun? I'd have to limber it and move it over, because if I just turn him, he's behind the point here. It's probably not a bad idea, though. But I can't do any initiative, so that's too bad. So I don't have a lot of, I could bring in these other Germans here, bring them in as reserves. I would probably do that if I were going to continue. In fact, I might keep playing this game after. I was kind of debating whether or not to have these guys. Because, when you're on the attack, it's nice to have like double, maybe not quite double, but double the troops, right? as the defender to make it give you a game. But these guys are whittling away like crazy now. These guys in the trenches are going to be much harder to hit and then take out. Okay, anyway, point is this: it's time to command. Well, the Stug's going to try to command immediately. He's going to be a -1, so it's going to be a 7. What do you think I'm going to roll here, Devin?
Probably an 8.
Okay. And Devin wins. Ding, ding, ding. Holy mackerel. You got it. An 8. Good job, Devin. So Devin wins. Stug loses.
Yay.
Oh, my gosh. Let me see something real quick. I need to look up again opportunity fire. Oh, okay. I forget that. I played this game for so long. It's so funny. I can op fire on units that fire, not just move. So when in a way, it would have been kind of cool if that Stug could have fired, because then I could have op fired on him during the German's turn. Shoot. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. But as we see, they failed. All right. Well, let's. So that's it. They're not going to be able to do anything. So this CO would say, hey, dummy MG42, get out of the open. He's going to have him move back. He's going to deploy up the infantry gun, because I don't have to worry about infantry for a little while. I'm thinking I'll use Devin's logic, like, you know what, maybe we should cover that flank over there in case that tank swings around. So he's going to deploy. He's going to move. These guys, I'll bring on some new troops. So, I need to roll. No, I've got to roll an 8 because those troops are further than that. Again, I don't know what the deployment rules are for reserves. I'm not going to worry about that right now. So I need to roll an 8. Oh man, you're kidding me!
Let me guess. You rolled a 9 or a 12?
I rolled a 12. Germans. So this is why this is a great solo game. Because I'm not really, I mean, if I were the Germans, I would be like, what the blank? If I were playing against somebody, right? I'd be a little bit more uptight about it. But now it's kind of like, that's, whatever. It's funny. It's fun. And it should be funny when I'm playing someone else. Like, sometimes I get a little competitive, which is ridiculous. Oh, yes, Elrod Sucks, man. We need to do a late night Blitzkrieg Godzilla test game. Oh, Godzilla? Or do you want to do this game? Anyway, yeah, we should. That'd be fun, man. I could make it as Godzilla. My blunder roll is a 5. Roll 1 die, and the unit nearest the enemy takes this number of attacks from firing. That would be the Stug. Oh, dang it. Shoot, man, I was hoping to roll high. Roll a 1. He's going to take an attack from firing. So need a 5. Oh, I rolled a 5 to hit. And now the Stug gets a save. A 5. Fail, 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 fail. Fail. And now I roll for suppression.
He'll suppress.
Nope, he didn't. Rolled a 1. So, but he does take a hit. So the first hit on a tank, let me see how many hits a Stug can take. Usually not 6 like an infantry, like an infantry platoon. 4 hits. So he can take 4 hits. So he's down to 3 hits. So that, I don't know. The German command rolls, I mean, that's it. That's the German turn. So that ends the German turn. I take off the op fire, and wow, sad, just sad. All right, well, let's call it there. I may keep playing this off camera, but I just wanted to go a couple turns. So I guess anybody on the comment line, any questions, anything? Again, this was a test game to show kind of how it plays. Let's, Devin, do you have any questions or anything? Let's see,
No,
I think it's really scary. Oh, ugh. Sorry, everybody. All right, two beautiful men on the screen. Any questions, Devin? Anything you've seen? Any comments?
No, I think you covered everything really well, and I think all the comments that I came up with, I presented during your playthrough.
Yeah, I think so. I appreciate you doing that. It helped come up with the questions that I couldn't think of. Anybody on the line? I see we have 4 people viewing. That's cool. I'm getting off camera. Anybody offline have any online have any questions? Looks like I'm hitting my head on the ceiling. I almost am actually. I'm about 2 inches away. That's the game. I really like the game. I hope that helped kind of illustrate some of the things. I'll go into more details about firing. Well, here's a question, Devin. So I'm going to break these down into smaller videos, right? I'm going to, not this one, but like, here's how to fire, here's command. But so you've seen, well, yeah, I know you've seen Gimpy's
boot camp videos.
Oh, you know what? Gimpy's, I did not mean to mention him. I was thinking of someone else. But Gimpy's videos on how to play lock and load are really great. How long are those videos? Like when he goes through each section.
Oh, less than 5 minutes. I mean, usually 3 to 4 minutes on average.
Okay, you're right. Those are short as well. So anyway, his videos and someone named, I think it's JK Wargamers or JK Wargames, does the same thing for ASL. He has like 50 videos out. He's slowed down to like a crawl now. He was doing them every week almost. And you know, ASL, you can do that for years. Okay, so anyway, JK and Gimpy. So Gimpy Wargamer, he does them for lock and load tactical. He's now doing them for he's done them for Nations of War, and he's done them for World of War, I believe, right?
Yep, correct.
Which is coming out soon. I am kickstarted on that. I'll be getting that.
Yay!
And then JK Wargames is ASL. Their concept is do 5-minute videos. You know, just like, so you're covering super high basics, but enough to kind of get you started. So you don't want to tell all the rules. So that is my philosophy on these. I just want to tell them, like, here's 5 minutes. What that means is I got to really pick out the high points, right? Because I tend to want to start getting into it. It's like, no, let them read the rule book. I just need to cover enough to let them understand how it works. Sometimes command can be confusing. Firing is not too difficult. What I like about this game, Devin, and I put in my overview, is that infantry, tanks, artillery, infantry guns, mortars, they all fire the same. Attack, the number of attacks, how you hit them is on 4+, some modifiers, add dice, minus dice, hits and saves, and suppression. Everything is the same routine, essentially, except for the close assault's got a couple extra steps, but the process for doing it's the same. Some games kind of change it up. Anyway, I guess my question to you was, any advice on maybe what to cover, not to cover on those videos to keep them short and sweet, now that you've kind of seen how it plays?
I would start out with writing out an outline of the rules and what you want to cover, and then from there, figure out how to break them down into bite-sized, manageable chunks. And then once you've got the topics that highlighted that you want to cover a video on, then you can figure out how to stuff everything that you want to tell into it.
Yeah, good plan, good idea. So I think that's it. We'll call it a game for now. Looks like the British are doing pretty well in this game. I would probably make this game. I might try to do this offline and do it maybe 6 turns, but it's not looking good for the Germans.
I don't know. I would say the dice for the British are doing really well.
Yeah,
and the dice are doing poorly for the Germans.
Right. I mean, you see, I mean, it's cool to be able to do it this way, right? Because I can ask kind of your opinion on how you do something, because you did it a little differently than I would have, which is cool. Mm-hmm. And that's the bad thing about playing solo. It's just really hard it's hard for me to think of, okay, make the British aggressive, make the Germans, you know, a little bit more passive or whatever, you know, trying to think of different tactics. That's the tough part. I do okay kind of getting my mind out of them. It's hard to think of those other tactics, and it shouldn't be that hard. It's like, don't fire this time. But anyway, that's why it's a fun game though, and you can do it solo because, as you see, Germans can or can't do something, and the British get some incredible rolls. But then I did fail as the British too, kind of stalled their move out. So anyway, sometimes. Devin, thank you so much. Al, Red Sox fan.
Todd,
Easy.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and I played a Colton. Who else showed up? John Lennon actually showed up. That's amazing. I know he showed up. House of Angus. So some of these guys have channels, some don't. House of Angus definitely does. I always forget if Uzi does. Uzi, do you have a channel? I don't even know if you're on. Sorry for forgetting.
I don't think Uzi does.
Don't think so. Yeah. We know Al Red Sox fans. So Al Red Sox fans is sports all the time. He's Wargamer curious, ladies and gentlemen. But Al Red Sox fan is definitely sports, and he is passionate about his sporting. He's a good commentator and fun to watch. I would say I'm kind of non-passionate about when I do stuff, but I guess I got to get a little excited here a couple times. Boy, some emotion. And then Devin also, Original Grognard, go watch his stuff. You've been kind of quiet, been doing all that play, that designing kind of slows you down for actual plays and stuff, but he just got one in the new. When is that supposed to be released? The Lock and Load Tactical Digital.
Not a clue. Not a clue when the digital is supposed to be released. Nothing's been said yet. It all comes basically down to, I think, how many modules do they want to release with it. And again, this is all speculation. I have no official word on it. If they just want to go with the Vietnam and the Normandy module, it's possible maybe sometime later this year. If they want to have all the modules done for it before it gets released, you're looking at a ways off yet. I don't know what David hasn't shared with me, and Tom hasn't shared with any of the play testers what the release schedule on Lock and Load Tactical Digital is going to be.
They didn't ask me, but I would suggest just release a couple modules. And I think Vietnam and Heroes of Normandy is great because there are people who love NAM, people who like Normandy. You can't go wrong with American and British para. People love that, and get it out sooner, and then kind of slow drip release. The cool thing about digital is you don't have to do it all at once, like when they printed, right? Because they save money printing all the runs. So that's cool. I wonder if I should get David or somebody who kind of leads the Lock and Load Tactical development.
Not David. I know that. David's mentioned the guy's name, and I just can't remember it. So
I just wonder if I should. I mean, you could probably do it too, but just get him on, do a StreamYard chat like this and talk a Lock and Load Tactical, what's coming up, their thoughts on what they think so far, and kind of just do a whole chat with him.
Do it. Reach out to David. He knows who you are, man. He and I have talked about you before, so he definitely knows you, and he watches your videos.
I'm known at the high levels of power within the wargaming industry. Not as well as some. You guys, you're some people. Anyway, no, it's cool. Get on there and ask him some questions. I'm surprised Kev or somebody else hasn't done that. But all right, anybody, it's hard for me to say goodbye. A Dash of Alon just jumped on. Fantastic. Yes, it is. See, fantastic. Hello, everyone. Lock and Load Digital looks fun. Dash of Alon, another guy. I got to prop him up. He's played a little Blitzkrieg Commander 2. He's got some couple videos on his channel from years ago. He does paint chats. So like usually during the week, I can't usually make them, but it's cool for those people who are overseas can make them, or people have different hours. So the paint chats, he does them long, 5-6 hours. But usually you can, he kind of spreads out the invitations there, but sometimes you can hop on, but you can just listen, and it's a nice thing when you're painting, doing that kind of thing. Clip encounters if you're a board war gamer. They kind of chat about stuff. You can chat with them just like you guys are doing. He also is playing some board games, kind of got a little board game trip here lately. So he's painting, but he's playing board games. He's been playing the SL Starter Kit.
Yep. Great Battles of the American Civil War.
Yep.
He just did an unboxing on the new BattleTech.
Oh, really? I haven't seen that one. Okay. So they're BattleTech. I have flirted with that Mistress 3 times. Nearly 4 times. 4 times, I would say I flirted. 3 times I followed through and actually engaged with that, and soon parted. Heartache. I don't know why I'm taking this analogy. I'm taking it too far. But this time I told her no. No. I almost jumped on that plane Kickstarter. I was this close. And I was like, come on, man. So I didn't do it. And I'm focusing on World War II and 15 and Blitzkrieg Commander, and then still haven't found my tactical or skirmish rule set yet. But Dash of Alon, or he always laughs at me because I'm always trying new rules. Playing all kinds of goodies. Yes, you are. Anyway, good channel, good guy. I mean, he also does role playing too. He's kind of getting into I think the new Pathfinder, so he's digging into that 600-page tome to figure out how he's going to do that. So good channels, a lot of guys to watch. Thank you all. It's been awesome. And look for the next video to be probably a review of the micromark lists that they put out. And also, that'll be an easy one. And then I'll start building up the list of, like Devin said, an outline of firing, you know, artillery. Oh, that's a topic. That's a good question for me. Ask if you can think of what are topics that people usually want to know about games. How to fire. I think arty, command's important in this one.
Well, basically the sequence of play, how that's broken down, plus what you're mostly going to run into. How do troops move? How do troops shoot? You know, how do you recover from suppression? How do you get suppressed?
Yeah, op fire.
You can do a video on ambushes.
No, that's true. I'll just have to learn how to do it. Yeah, I mean, so there's a whole. I mean, gosh, there's a whole series on like deployment, and well, there's 15 scenarios in here.
Ooh.
So they're just those like basic, you know, amphibious assault and circle, that kind of thing. Just kind of get you started. How to build a list, I think, helps. Basing. I think I kind of covered that in the basics, though. Although people do wonder. So, and everyone, if you know, there's a Facebook group, Blitzkrieg Commander Fan Facebook group. Check it out. I run it. You have to answer a couple questions. I want to make sure you're not a bot or you know, some weirdo.
Well, are you telling me the hot Russian gal who has no friends in common with me is a bot?
No, in your case, Devin, she's a fan, and you should accept her friendship and love.
That's what I do every time. I always get all these weird pop-ups after that. I don't know what's up with that.
Yeah, it's just because you're so popular,
I guess.
Oh, sequence of play, Dash of Lon says, yes, that's definitely critical. Like Devin did have a question for that during the showing here. Yeah, that's a cool thing. So with the rule set as simple as this is, there's still a lot of stuff to talk about. And they also have so many special rules. And most of the book is army list. That's what's cool about it. Every army list from every nationality from 37 to 45. Yep, 37, there it is. Chinese Army, July 37 to August 45. 46 lists. So this is a cool book, and you buy this, you're done. You don't need to buy anything else. You don't need to buy scenario books. You don't need to buy army list books.
They offer that PDF as well.
Yes. Yep. I don't know the price on that, but yes, PDF. And right now,
I know a lot of people really grok on the PDF. I don't. I have to have a physical book. That's just how I am. But I know there's a lot of people like PDFs.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the cool thing about it is, to me, it's like a nice way to look at them, because some of us are especially miniature players, are kind of rule collectors. So if you're kind of like, I don't know if I'm ever going to play this, but I'm interested in how they do things, that's a PDF, right? It's like, I don't need a hard copy of that. But this one, I have both. So I can read it while I'm on the run. I can look up stuff, and then, so this game I commit. And there's been some, so yeah, that's that. And you can print pages that you need and all that stuff. Okay, cool. I keep saying goodbye, but I can't. It's so hard for me. Yes, physical book for Dash of Lon. Hilarious. Baha. Okay. All right, everybody. Thanks a lot. Have a great rest of your Sunday. See ya. Happy roll.
See ya.
And we are soon going to be off the air.